John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson show support for Mark Andrews after critical mistakes in Ravens' heartbreaking loss. The Baltimore Ravens' crushing playoff defeat to the Buffalo Bills was defined by crucial mistakes. None more memorable than Mark Andrews' late-game fumble and a critical two-point conversion drop. These errors came at a devastating moment for the three-time Pro Bowl tight end, who had one of the worst games of his career just when his team needed him the most. Andrews, a 7-year NFL veteran and one of the most reliable players in the Ravens' offense, mishandled a first-half pass before making two critical blunders late in the game. With just 8:44 remaining, the Ravens were trailing 24-19 when Andrews fumbled after a would-be first-down catch in Buffalo's territory. The turnover allowed the Bills to recover and extend their lead with a field goal, making it 27-19. But the most heart-wrenching moment came later, when Andrews had a chance to tie the game on a two-point conversion with only 1:33 left in regulation. Lamar Jackson found him in the end zone on a perfectly executed rollout. The ball hit Andrews in both hands, but he lost control as he fell backward into the end zone, missing what could have been the game-tying score. The drops were the first Andrews had made since Week 6 of the regular season, and his failure to convert on the two-point play in the postseason felt like a cruel blow to the Ravens' championship hopes. With that, the Bills were able to run out the clock and hold on to a 27-25 victory, advancing to the AFC Championship while sending the Ravens home. Ravens rally around Andrews. "We wouldn't be here without Mark." After the game, Andrews did not speak with reporters and skipped the team's final media session of the season. However, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, as well as Andrews' teammates, rushed to his defense. Despite his mistakes, they were quick to remind everyone that the tight end had been a central part of the team's success all season long. "There's nobody that has more heart and cares more and fights more than Mark," Harbaugh said of Andrews. "We wouldn't be here without Mark." That's what you say to him. It's like anything else. Destiny is a decision that you make. The decision is how you handle what comes in your life. Mark will handle it fantastic like he always does because he's a high-character person. He's a tough person. He's a good person. I'm proud of him just like I'm proud of all the guys. Ronnie Stanley, the Ravens' longtime left tackle, also praised Andrews, calling him a warrior and telling the tight end he loved him and had complete confidence in his ability to bounce back. Defensive back Kyle Hamilton, who had a big role in Baltimore's defense all year, said anyone placing the blame solely on Andrews should take a step back and recognize that football is a team sport. For anybody to say anything about him, you have to look in the mirror, Hamilton said, defending his teammate. Lamar Jackson shoulders the blame. "It's on all of us." Lamar Jackson, who had his own share of mistakes in the game, also took the high road when addressing Andrews' errors. Jackson was responsible for two first-half turnovers, a costly interception and a fumble that helped the Bills take control of the game in the first half. But unlike others who might have placed the blame squarely on Andrews, Jackson was adamant that the loss wasn't on just one player. "I'm just as hurt as Mark," Jackson said. Ain't his fault. All of us played a factor in that game. It's a team effort." Jackson went on to explain his own role in the turnovers, taking full responsibility for his mistakes. "I threw a BS interception," Jackson admitted. "It was 7-7 at the time. I believe they scored after that. Battled back, fumble, snap, trying to make something happen. It was like an RPO play. So I couldn't really throw the ball to Isaiah Likely. An offensive lineman was down the field. Like I've been saying all season, every time we're in a situation like this, turnovers play a factor. Penalties play a factor. Tonight, turnovers. Can't have that ****. That's why we lost the game. As you can see, we were moving the ball wonderfully. Just hold on to the fing ball. Sorry for my language. It's fing annoying. I'm tired of this ****. Despite the mistakes, Jackson was still able to lead a masterful 88-yard touchdown drive in the closing minutes, accounting for all 88 yards with both his arm and his legs. But the hope for a dramatic comeback was dashed after Andrews' drop on the two-point conversion attempt. The Ravens' season came to a heart-wrenching end, yet Jackson refused to blame his teammate for the loss. "I'm not gonna put that on Mark. Bro," Jackson continued. "He's been battling all season. He's been doing all the great things he's been doing all season. A team effort. Ravens look ahead after another playoff heartbreak. As heartbreaking as it was, the Ravens' playoff run was not a failure due to one player's mistake. It was a collective effort. And despite the glaring errors, the Ravens continued to show fight and resilience throughout the game. Jackson's leadership and defense were key components that kept Baltimore in the game. And even though they fell short, the team's overall performance shouldn't be overshadowed by a few costly mistakes. Head coach John Harbaugh summed up the difficulty of playoff football, saying, "It's tough to win playoff games. It's tough to get in the playoffs. Then you've got to stack 4 playoff wins to win a championship." For Jackson, Harbaugh, and the rest of the team, this loss stings, but they know that next year, they'll have to do better, especially when it comes to ball security. The offseason will likely bring tough questions about what the team needs to do to push past the playoff hurdle that's prevented them from reaching a Super Bowl in recent seasons. But as Harbaugh said, destiny is a decision that you make. The Ravens will look to come back stronger, knowing full well that the road to success in the NFL is never a straight path. For now, they'll rally around Andrews, knowing that one missed play doesn't define a player or a season. As Jackson stated, it's a team effort. We need to bounce back. And for the Ravens, that bounce back will be critical as they aim to finish what they started and take that next step toward a Super Bowl championship. Lamar Jackson's frustration after Ravens' heartbreaking loss. Tired of this ****. The Baltimore Ravens' heartbreaking playoff exit on Sunday night left quarterback Lamar Jackson visibly frustrated and on the verge of snapping. After a 27-25 loss to the Buffalo Bills, Jackson could hardly contain his disappointment as he spoke with the media, slapping his hands together, trying to shake off the frustration that had clearly built up throughout the game. "I tried to squeeze the ball. It slipped, smack, out of my hand," Jackson explained, his tone full of raw emotion. "This game, the turnovers, we can't have that ****, he continued. "It's hold on to the fingball. I'm sorry for my language. But this is annoying. I'm tired of this ****. Jackson's outburst wasn't just a moment of anger. It was the culmination of an exhausting game full of missed opportunities and costly mistakes that ultimately led to the Ravens' exit from the postseason. And despite his 2 turnovers, which contributed to the loss, Jackson stood by his teammates, including tight end Mark Andrews, who dropped a critical 2-point conversion late in the fourth quarter. A game of mistakes and missed opportunities. The Ravens' playoff game against the Bills was a rollercoaster of emotions. Baltimore committed multiple turnovers, an interception, a fumble, and a rare drop by Andrews that could have tied the game. To make matters worse, they couldn't capitalize on several opportunities when they had the momentum. There was even a fumble recovery by Von Miller that gave Buffalo extra yardage and set them up for points. Despite these setbacks, the Ravens kept fighting. Jackson, however, found redemption in the final minutes. With the game on the line, he led Baltimore on a brilliant 88-yard drive, capped off by a stunning 24-yard touchdown pass that had the Bills' home crowd in shock. But just when it seemed like the Ravens were about to pull off the comeback, disaster struck. Andrews dropped the potential game-tying 2-point conversion. The agony of that moment was felt by Ravens fans and players alike. Jackson defends Andrews. "I'm just as hurt as Mark." While Jackson had his own mistakes to answer for, he made it clear that he wasn't going to blame Andrews for the dropped pass. In fact, he called out his own errors, taking responsibility for the turnovers that put the Ravens in a difficult position. "We're a team," Jackson said after the game. First half I had 2 costly turnovers. Me not holding the safety. Me just knowing the coverage and me knowing it was man. Through a B.S. interception. Jackson was quick to defend his tight end, emphasizing that Andrews has been a key contributor for the team all season. "Mark has been busting his behind. He's making plays happen out there on that field for us," Jackson said. "He came up short, but that's not what lost us the game. We lost because of the turnovers. That's on all of us." The Ravens' playoff struggles continue. Despite Jackson's leadership and resilience, this loss was another chapter in the ongoing story of his playoff struggles. Jackson is now 3-5 in the postseason, a record that has often been pointed to by critics when discussing his legacy. And while this loss won't be pinned entirely on Jackson's shoulders, The fact remains that it's another year the Ravens fall short of a Super Bowl berth. Head coach John Harbaugh echoed Jackson's sentiment, calling it a team loss. He reminded everyone that the Ravens had been one of the best teams in the league at protecting the ball during the regular season. But in this game, they failed to do so when it mattered most. It's football, Harbaugh said. This is how football works. If you want to draw some big cosmic thread, you draw it for every single team in the league except the team that wins. It's tough to win playoff games. It's tough to get in the playoffs. Then you've got to stack 4 playoff wins to win a championship. This loss brings the Ravens' postseason journey to an end and leaves them once again questioning what it will take to finally break through and get to the Super Bowl. For Jackson, the frustration of coming so close yet falling short has become all too familiar. The Ravens' future. What's next? As for what comes next for the Ravens, Jackson and the team will have to regroup after yet another heartbreaking loss. With Jackson under center, Baltimore has been close in each of their playoff appearances, but they've never managed to get over the hump. This offseason, the Ravens made moves to ease some of the burden on Jackson by adding star running back Derrick Henry to their roster. The hope was that this would take some pressure off of Jackson and make the offense more balanced. But with another disappointing playoff loss, the question now becomes, what more do the Ravens need to get over the hump? The road ahead will be difficult. It's clear that Jackson needs to continue evolving, but so do his teammates. The Ravens' fate in the postseason will depend on a combination of individual growth, team cohesion, and, most importantly, holding onto the ball when it matters most. As Jackson himself said after the loss, "I'm tired of being right there. We need to punch it in. We need to punch in that ticket." The Ravens, like Jackson, are tired of coming so close but never sealing the deal. Whether they can finally break through next season remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, Jackson and the Ravens are determined to come back stronger.